Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Wednesday, October 30th. JOAN STACK is with us today. Good to have you here, JOAN. And you're just beaming. This is the first time you've been back with us since the grand opening of the new location.
That's right. It's in August.
Yeah. So how is it going?
It's going great. We've had a lot of people in. We've had a lot of events. We've had a lot of bookings of various organizations that have come and used our facility for their events. So it's been a great chance to show off this new building and our new art collection to the people of Missouri.
What is the biggest change that you feel being in the new building?
Well, probably the art gallery, because the art gallery before was a glorified library space with low ceilings, the sort of ceilings you'd have in a library. And some of our paintings, we have one painting that was literally floor to ceiling in the old building. And so now we have, massive high ceilings in the gallery. And so the paintings are no longer, overcoming the space. You almost felt claustrophobic sometimes with these paintings because they took up whole walls and the like. And now we have a much bigger space. The paintings you can step back from the paintings better. You can really look at them. You can experience them in a way that is much more like the experience somebody would expect to find in, say, the St. Louis Art Museum or a big museum elsewhere in the country. We finally got a space that does
here
these
in
artworks.
Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah.
And it's all climate controlled, right?
That's right. No
climate controlled.
No natural light.
That's what I learned the last time you told me. No natural light in the museum because of the fading of the artwork.
That's right. And even in the library, we have to be very careful with the natural light.
Did you have natural light in the library?
There is still some natural light in the library, but we're careful about displaying books, antique books and the like. Obviously most people don't have them out for a long period of time.
Right.
So in any display areas, we have to be careful with the light.
Okay, so what did you want to deal with today?
Well, I want to promote a temporary exhibition that's on display right now.
Temporary?
It's temporary. Let me say about the gallery, we sort of divided it in half, and in one half we show our permanent collection, the works that people come from around the state to see, the George Caleb Bingham's General Order No. 11, a Civil War painting, or the Thomas Hart Benton World War II paintings, giant, impressive paintings. They will almost always be on display if you come and see it. If they're not on the display, they're probably on loan to another museum somewhere. But we don't have any loans coming up, so you can guarantee you'll see those Binghams and the Bentons. However, a large portion of our collection are works on paper. And we have a lot of really important things, but they can only be displayed for a short period of time because of the same light issues, but paper is more sensitive. So even artificial light can harm paper over time.
So you're telling me that even though you have no natural light in there, you can only display the paper work for
4 to 5 months, in light-controlled conditions. Yeah. So,
and then what would happen?
Well, it depends. I mean, if we display them for 6 months and then didn't display them again for 2 years, it'd probably be all right to bring them out again because it's cumulative. But we have to keep in mind that it is cumulative. And if you displayed them in your house, for example, you had a Thomas Hart Benton in bright light, it is likely the paper will yellow. And if there's any color, the colors may fade, like a watercolor painting.
Okay.
So, but the paper yellowing is the major problem with black and white works.
But not deteriorating.
It shouldn't deteriorate.
Okay.
But
now, you brought a couple of samples here today.
That's right. I brought a couple of examples of the lithographs we have on display in an exhibit that's called Thomas Hart Benton, the Complete Editioned Lithographs. And Thomas Hart Benton, during his lifetime, made 87 lithographs that he published in editions.
And you have all of them?
We have all of them. We're one of the few public institutions that has all of them, and we're very proud of that, so we're showing that off. We have a 2-part exhibition. The current exhibition will be on display until November 16th, so I wanted to give you a couple of weeks to come and see these.
Now, the one that you brought that we were looking at, what is that?
This is the train, is that right? Yes. This is called Going West. This is an early Thomas Hart Benton lithograph, one of the first ones that he made. It was published in 1934, and it represents the kind of power of the steam engine.
Right, the steam engine, and the steam engine looks like it's lurching forward.
That's right, so he gets that energy, and that's a quality of Thomas Hart Benton's work.
It's lurching forward, and the telegraph line next to it are leaning backward.
Yeah, so he's trying to show you the experience of seeing a steam engine, so the sense of movement, which is a quite common element in Thomas Hart Benton's work.
And
so that's
another one.
That's from 34, and this one is The Departure of the Joads, and this was from 1939, and it was made in conjunction with the famous film of the John Steinbeck novel with Henry Fonda, and it was a John Ford film, an important film, The Grapes of Wrath, that was directed by John Ford and came out in 1939. And Benton was hired to help promote the film with artworks.
He was.
And so this lithograph was blown up many times and used as a big poster for the exhibit. I mean, for the film when it opened, and was used in some of the promotional material. And so it's kind of exciting to have that lithograph on display together with a group of portraits of the various Joads from the Grapes of Wrath. So there's a number of really interesting artworks. There are the lithographs he did in relation to the murals in the Jefferson City Capitol.
How large are these lithographs?
Well, one of the biggest is the Going West, the image of the train, which is really quite large. Let's see, it's painting sized. It's the size that you imagine a big oil painting once it's framed. The others are a more modest size, a little larger than the 8.5 by 11s that I've brought in, but maybe closer to, 15 by 11 or something.
And they will be on display for a limited time only.
That's right. So we're closing our first installment on November 16th. So really you only have just over 2 weeks to see the first installment. And then we'll close down just for a few days so we can change it out. And then we're reopening it just before Thanksgiving on November 26th. And the second half of the exhibit will be on display until February.
Okay. And then where do they go when they're put away?
We put them safely into boxes or into bins where there is no light, and they can be safely stored without.
All right. You know, lay people don't think of all the details that have to go into this. Thank you so much, Joan, for sharing it with us. Your hours of operation at the State Historical Society?
Yes, the gallery is open at 8:30 and closes at 4:30.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, JOAN STACK. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.